I'm going to take a short detour from my normal videos about art-related things and share some reflections about a show I thought would be an awesome show, but turned out to be quite a disappointment. A little while ago, I was one of those who were naive enough to look forward to the Rings of Power TV show. I knew that there was a lot yet to be explored in the original books, and I was therefore thrilled when I first read that Amazon would be creating more content for my beloved franchise. I knew they had messed up the Wheel of Time, which I had also enjoyed in book form, but I thought that this is a story so complete that they can't go wrong. Eventually the trailer came out, and while the armor and costumes looked a bit cheap, and the cinematography was too bright and oversaturated for my tastes, I decided to give them the benefit of the doubt. So, like a naive child who does not realize they are about to receive a spanking from their drunk father, I sat ready on my couch with popcorn, soda and chocolates as the premiere aired. The first episode was a huge disappointment. Nothing was like I had expected. The script was horrible and awfully contrived. There was no sense that hope could be found in even the most dire of situations, as is one of the things I've come to love about Tolkien's work. Even the visuals that were so highly praised by many I found hollow. The colors too oversaturated, like in the trailer, leaving nothing left to the imagination. And the costumes looked like they were from some other show, never worn, and straight off the rack. Needless to say, I was frustrated by what I had just watched. But I knew that Amazon had spent a ridiculous amount of money on this show, and that would have to show itself eventually, right? Like someone who can't leave their abusive spouse, I watched the next episode when it aired. If anything, I remember that this was even worse than the first one, and so the dance continued. New episode, disappointment, new episode, disappointment. One would think that I'd learned by now, but I really wanted the show to be good, and so I kept watching in the hopes that they would finally get something right in the end. When the show finally ended in one huge letdown, I sat there with a frown and a lot of questions, and none of them was who is Gandalf or Sauron. I thought, where did all this money go? Amazon had one of humanity's most praised stories to base their show on, and seemingly unlimited funds, and this is the best they could muster? In hindsight, I've come to some realizations that I'm sure most of you knew even before the series was released. Many modern studios look at the numbers and have seen that people want entertainment, but along the way they have forgotten to create art. Entertainment is the game show we watch on Monday night after work to kill some time while we eat our tacos and let our bodies recover from the stress of the day. Entertainment is designed to be quickly digested, discarded, and forgotten. We don't watch or read The Lord of the Rings for entertainment. We watch it as an experience that we will remember and wonder about. An experience that appeals to our entire being and can make us realize something about our own life. To put it simply, Lord of the Rings is not entertainment. It is a piece of art and can only be retold as such. Amazingly enough, I was ready to give Rings of Power another chance. I thought that when they see that people don't respond to this, the natural thing would be to take a step back and listen. Maybe they'll do better in season 2. Their reaction to the fans' feedback is one I find most puzzling. They started pointing fingers at their fans and customers, calling them names, like some sort of bratty child that don't get the result they wanted. This response came right after their release, as if it had been prepared beforehand, which to me makes the whole thing appear quite disingenuous and spiteful. When I grew up in the 90s, there was a saying in business that the customer is always right. That didn't mean literally that the customer was always right, but rather that the customer's perception and experience should be valued and addressed by the business. This way, there is a sort of communication between customer and the studio that keeps the customer happy and comes back for more. The business also gets feedback on its service, so it knows where it can improve. This communication model has completely broken down in modern Hollywood. The fans want to be heard, but Hollywood says they are not only wrong, but insult X and Y, and so they shut their ears and create the same show time and time again. It seems like the fans and the producers are living on completely different planets. The fans call out for good stories told by competent writers and actors that are presented in a well-composed manner so that they may care about the story. Yet all the producers and studios talk about is representation, inclusion and diversity. It's as if they are not selling a movie, but rather a membership to the local left-leaning political party. There is nothing wrong with diversity in movies. Diversity is what makes each one of us unique, and it's the belief that our backgrounds, personality, life experiences and beliefs can be an addition to the product rather than being disadvantageous. Lately, diversity has come to mean force women and people of color into roles that do not necessarily fit them. Diversity is not just about race and gender. It could also be hiring an actor who has been homeless to play a poor or homeless person, or choose to work with someone with a mental disorder because that could add something interesting to the character they are portraying. While it's good to have a notion of diversity in the back of your mind as you work, it can't be the main reason for why you choose to hire someone. What the corporations do is something I'd call corporate diversity, which has nothing to do with diversity. They just want to check off a lot of boxes so that they might appear to have some sort of moral high ground, from which they might talk down to you and create a divisive environment where people shout at each other from the safety of their group. And in the flurry, everyone forgets about the mediocre product that was just released. In the end, some end up watching the product more out of loyalty to their group than anything else. The customer is always right philosophy is not created out of altruism. It's ultimately designed for the business to sell more products or services and thus earn more money. I do understand that creating good art is not motivation enough for these major companies, but I had at least hoped that their sense of greed would guide them to a good product. Maybe they have just stayed on their isolated island of plenty for so long that ideology and greed is the only attributes they have left.